Hey guys, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my birth story video. I am officially 5 weeks postpartum and knew it was time to share my story with you guys, and I've been soaking up all of our little newborn snuggles. I'm about to return back to work here in the next week, so I wanted to get to share this with you and tell you all about my birth story. So first things first, as you can tell, I do not have my baby in my hands, but she is currently taking a nap. I can see her, so I might have to hop in and out here if I am called, but we're during nap time, so it should be a-okay. But let's get on into it. I would like to start by saying I did successfully have an unmedicated birth. This was my goal. I had mentioned it in previous videos as my baby prep leading up to the birth. I was able to successfully do it and I am beyond proud of myself. It was hard. We'll get into the details here momentarily, but wanted to start by sharing that with you, that I was able to do unmedicated. So if you want to hear more, definitely keep watching. I was due September 1st, and a couple weeks prior to our due date, I started having some more cramping, but I really wouldn't say like actual contractions, and nothing was intense. It was very mild, nothing was frequent, consistent, regular, none of that. It was just some occasional cramping, and I was like, okay, is this time? Like, are we getting like close, building up to it? There was one point where my back was hurting pretty good, so I was like really sure and feeling like, okay, like I think we're really getting close. No, you know, the whole false labor, they don't joke when they say that. Definitely was not legit. It was just kind of my body starting to prep, but that was nothing more. Come closer to my due date, I started having more like actual contractions happening. So on my due date, when I started having more timeable contractions, I was monitoring those, but it was still so far and few between that I was like, okay, it's not even worth timing until these get more consistent. I had started taking time off from work starting this day because it's actually a Monday. So this whole week I was gonna have off to be prepared for whatever little girl decided it was go time for her to make her appearance. Come Tuesday, September 2nd, today was the day where we had an appointment with our doctor where we were also going to do a membrane sweep that morning. So we did that, all was looking good, baby was looking good, and I get home and the contractions definitely picked up where they were timeable, where the evening came and I was 2 to 3 minutes apart. I was feeling them, but again, I had never experienced contractions before and I had never had a baby before, so I did not know what to expect. So what I thought was, you know, intense, strong, was not, definitely not. But we did want to play it safe and went to the emergency room to, or I guess labor and delivery, to get checked to see what our progress was, because that morning at the appointment we were 1 centimeter dilated and 75% effaced. So I was like, okay, these contractions are picking up, something's got to be happening, right? Well, we get there and I was still only 1 centimeter dilated, so they're like, you might as well go home, continue laboring until like you have contractions where you literally cannot talk and you like get stopped in your tracks when having them, because I was still able to talk through them, everything just fine. Like, they didn't feel nice, that's for sure, but I was still able to do all of that. So I was like, okay, yep, let's go home and continue this thing. Well, Tuesday night, I woke up in the middle of the night. Contractions were definitely getting stronger. I was not able to sleep. Birthing ball, yoga ball, however you want. This is the one I used. I'll link it down below because it was my saving grace, not only just at home, but more so at the hospital. Thankfully, the hospital had one, but the yoga ball was my go-to for working through contractions. So I was up at probably like early morning. I'm not really sure the exact time on this date. I want to say it's maybe 3:30, but not for certain. Regardless, very early morning hours, I was up and I did some reading, worked through my contractions because I was like, yeah, I cannot sleep through these. But timing was still too far apart. So this entire day, I just kept going through, oh wait, no, Tuesday night. So yeah, going into Wednesday. Yeah, we're good. Gosh, mom brain, it's hard. Everything else is just gone. Anywho, Tuesday night going into Wednesday, I'm just kind of working through those contractions all day Wednesday. I'm timing them, nothing's super close yet, but we're definitely building. So I reached out to my doula to ask her like, hey, is it too early to go in? She's of course, trust your instincts. If you want to go in, get checked. But I was like, I really don't want to go in early and then find out, you know, we're just sitting ducks. We're not making any progress yet. So I was like, oh, well, hang tight. So I go to bed Wednesday, and here's where I wake up in the middle of the night around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and it's intense. I'm like, yeah, I'm very uncomfortable at this point. I go to the bathroom, come and lay back down. I have a birthing comb at this point where like I'm sleeping with it and trying to work through those contractions because they're hurting pretty well. So trying to help manage that pain with some acupressure. And I'm like, do I wake up Dalton? Do I wake him up? Do I just hold it out? What do I do? And come 2:30, I told Dalton, I think we need to go to the hospital. I think it's time. So we grab all of our stuff. We've had the truck packed at this point, like all the bags ready, that we just had most of the stuff in there besides our bag that had some snacks. So we easily loaded up the truck, headed to the hospital. I had a little bowl of eggs from some leftovers that I was hardly able to eat because my nerves, like I could tell my nerves were on top of it today. I was shaky. My body knew something was happening today. We get there, we get checked in again, and we find out that we're 4 centimeters dilated. And my contractions were much closer at this point too. I want to say we were back to that 2 to 3 minute mark. So that was also what was like, yeah, let's go in. They're like, okay, you're making progress, which is great, but you can either continue laboring here, you've still got a ways to go, because again, we're trying to get to 10 centimeters, or go home and be in the comfort of your home, and we can go from there. We decided to go home, so they said, let us know by 7 a.m. how things are going, or come in sooner. We end up getting home, and seriously, within 45 minutes, the contractions are lasting longer than my rest times in between. So Dalton calls, I think it was like 5:45 at this point. I was like, you should probably call and ask and see what they have to say about that. And like, yeah, come in. So we go back and we're officially admitted in and beginning the labor process. So I have our doula come as well. We're all there and ready to hunker down for the day ahead to bring in our little baby to the world. I get into my gown. I didn't have my own. I was just like, again, first one, kind of feeling it out. I know some people buy like their own like more comfortable gown, but the hospital gown was fine by me. I was booty cheeks open to the world at this point, but it's just the nurses coming in and out occasionally to check on us. So it's just my husband, my doula, and I in the birthing room for a majority of the time together. The nurses were amazing. They come in and check, are trying to get an understanding of what I want, and they were wanting to make sure they can try to help fulfill that. So they were fully supportive of the unmedicated goal that I had in mind. And I seriously appreciate that so much. I know some people have different opinions about a hospital versus, you know, home birth and stuff like that. I want to say right now, I support whatever decision you make, but for us, my husband and I, we felt most comfortable doing it at the hospital, but having our doula there to help provide additional support. We're there, contractions get stronger. We find out that as we had gotten checked in, I went from a 4 to a 6 already in that time frame. So literally just again that 45 minutes. So that was crazy. Now I was just trying to make it through from the 6 to 7 mark, because I believe that's the one that they had said that like takes the longest, or maybe it's like once you're 7 getting past that, not sure. But now it's again just trying to get things continuously moving, making those contractions stronger so we can get this little girl out. I did end up having several cervical checks. Again, this is all how it happened for me. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not telling you how you should do it. I'm not telling you what to do. I know everybody has their own opinions and what they feel most comfortable with, but I was fine with that, and we kind of just kept tracking our progress right along. Honestly, at this point, kind of speeding forward a little bit. Again, as I mentioned a little bit prior, that I was using a yoga ball to go through my contractions. It was a lot of, you know, figure eights, hip swivels, really trying to breathe through those because they were really building. I could not talk. I had to sit, like as soon as it came, I was sitting through that for the, you know, my contractions were literally lasting like 2 minutes long. So that 2 minute long period in between before getting a little bit of rest, and they started all over again. For me too, it was the very beginning of the contraction is the hardest to get through because that's when the pain is most intense, but then it kind of, you know, mellows out as it dwindles down and gets further along within the individual contraction, but mine were certainly lasting longer than a minute long. It was very challenging towards the end. My body was going through it. I definitely had several thoughts about, well, can I keep doing this? Should I try to do an epidural to help with the pain? Because it was really getting intense. But I was like, we can do this, you know, one contraction time, keep going. My support system was amazing. Shout out to Dalton and my doula. I couldn't have been more grateful for their support because they just, you know, kept cheering me on. And the nurses even too, they're like, you're a champ. And I'm just like over here like, sure, sure. My doula even mentioned too, she's like, you were so positive. I'm like, well, my head was not positive. I was having lots of thoughts going through it. So again, jumping further along here, that's kind of how the process was going for several centimeters. And once we were about 9 centimeters dilated, my OB, our delivery doctor, came in to check things out, see how everything was going, how I was doing. She was here knowing that we were going to be getting close to delivery here at any point. So she goes in to check and finds out my water broke. She sticks her hand barely in there. It's like this much of her finger had to go in before touching our little baby's head. So she was definitely low and ready to go. And my water had broke as a simple motion of her hand, just there we were. And we were so close to 10. She said I was like 9.5 centimeters. So she's like, now at this point, it's just making sure we can really get it open and get this baby out. So these contractions were really, 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 really hard to get through. They certainly ramped up, amped up. It was intense, to say the least. It was intense is probably the perfect word to describe it. I was stuck on the birthing ball. I had to have my husband do counter pressure and really, really, really push into my hips because they felt like they were going to break. Like, I don't know, it was excruciating pain truly, but that's because my hips were opening and getting ready to allow baby to come right on now. So we did that, but then I also had to use the peanut ball and lay on my side, or I guess sides, using both sides, doing it for both sides to really, really try and help open up some more, because it's just kind of, you know, we're feeling the contractions, we're having it all happen, everything's going just right, but we weren't quite there yet. So these contractions were so hard for me to do from my side. You really, really, really just had to breathe, breathe, breathe. Really keep the airflow going, trying to get through those ones because they hurt so bad, but I knew the pain was meaning something was happening and we're getting open enough where there was at one point where I believe I was on my right side where I was like, yeah, no, I think it's go time. I literally feel like she's coming, like I feel like I have to poop, like I can feel that pressure. She's here, it's time to start pushing. And that's what my mom had said, so my mother-in-law had said, like, I know it's a common thing that most women will probably tell you who have had a baby, that it feels like you're going to poop. And like, it just, it feels like seriously you have to push. And so I was like really, really, really trying not to. My doctor's getting all geared up and her like gown, suit, set up, whatever. The nurses are coming in, this is where the room starts filling up. We start getting everybody in there, it's go time. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. I mean, my body though, I wanna update at this point, was shot. When I was doing the peanut ball contractions on the bed, I had actually dozed off a couple times in between contractions. My body was so tired. Mind you, I had not slept very well the couple of nights before, and the contractions, they're intense. It's like super physically challenging. Your body's going through a lot. So I was physically exhausted. I was not sure how I was gonna get this baby out, but I was like, we're so close, we're right there. So again, the support system was huge in keeping me motivated and going strong for this. Now my legs are in stirrups, so I've got my husband on one side, my doula on the other holding my legs, and it's time to start doing some practice pushes. I definitely had a hard time, you know, I thought I was just gonna be able to breathe it out through my mouth and push this baby out. No, like you really did have to like trying to put your best poop face on, like you're trying to push out a poop. We're trying to push out this baby. So it was really hard, those first couple practice pushes. One of the nurses was like, nope, you're not alone. Like this is why they're called practice, because it's hard. It's trying to get that groove going so we can start doing the real thing. We're doing those, she's coming, she's getting close already, and so then it's, you know, we're just going into it. It was super challenging. Challenge and intense is just my 2 words for this to try and explain it. She's just coming, she's right there, head's right there, but unfortunately no more progress was being made as we were going through more of the pushes. I even had some where I was able to do 4 pushes, 4 rounds of 10-second pushes, because it just felt like I needed to push. But even then she was just stuck. Like Dalton would say that her head would come and then she'd go back in. So my doctor was like, Emma, we're gonna put the vacuum in, but we're not gonna turn it on, but it's go time. Like, you gotta start doing something, because her heart rate started dropping. Of course, I want to, you know, avoid any interventions as much as possible, trying to go along with this unmedicated, even though that's not medication. My goal is to also not have any interventions of trying to get her out. I want to be able to just do it on my own. So my doctor would put in the little vacuum thing, but I guess I kept pushing it right back out. I'm in a daze at this point. This is like stuff my husband helped like recap with me after the fact, because then they put an oxygen mask on me, and again, my body, I just know I was just kind of just like a shell at this point. I was so exhausted. I was sweating so bad. Like, the fans were not doing it for me. I don't know if I'd ever sweat more in my life. I was so hot. I'm exhausted, and now I'm trying to put more physical exertion on my body. It was very, very challenging, but I was able to keep pushing the vacuum out. And so my doctor, she did end up doing a little bit of an episiotomy. There's like this much, I think she had said, to try and help her along. After several pushes later, where she's like, you gotta go, Emma, you gotta go, keep going. I was able to get her head through, and really from there it was just bada bing bada boom, she was out. I did end up giving myself a nice tear, like this much more after that, so I did probably tear about this much, I think she had said. I believe it was a 2nd-degree tear, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's what she had mentioned. So I did have to have sutures, stitches, if you will, from that, but our baby was here. It was so crazy seeing her just like out on the table, like, oh my gosh, this being is now here that has been in my stomach this entire time. She's here in the world. Like, this is crazy. But again, my body, like, I'm just being quite transparent, my body was so shot that I was just like, oh my gosh, it's done. It's so crazy too for me. I know some people have contractions still to get their placenta out. My contractions completely stopped after baby was here. At this point, I'm just, you know, doctors coming over. I did have the IV, I'm not sure what you want to call it, but like the insert in, but I didn't have anything going, any fluids going into my IV when I first like had gotten to the hospital, everything. But when her blood pressure started dropping, they did give me an IV, along with, once after baby was here, I had lost quite a bit of blood, so they gave me Pitocin to help slow that down as well, which I ended up finding out that I lost 700 milliliters of blood. So that's almost an IV bag full, if you need a reference. So that was insane. They almost gave me 2 bags of Pitocin, but I only ended up needing the 1. But totally understand why my doctor was like, yeah, we might end up needing to do 2. So nonetheless, baby's here, they're stitching me up, and I get to hold baby. My husband is just so sweet right here, looking out for me. I will say, when baby was stuck and heart rate was dropping, and he could see me, like how exhausted I was, and, you know, worried about baby, he literally looked like he was gonna pass out. That one of the nurses I remember was like, Dad, do you need to sit down? And he's like, no, I'm okay. He's like, the blood wasn't even bothering me. You know, after the fact he had shared this, it was literally just, I was so worried about more so you at this point than her. But I mean, it's just, you know, a lot of worry was happening going through his mind. So thankfully we all ended up being okay. I didn't need a C-section. We didn't end up having to use the vacuum. I got all stitched up. We did find out though I needed additional stitches, but internal, because the reason why she was being a little stinker and trying to come out is her elbow was up by her face, and so that was preventing her from coming through. So once I finally pushed her out, it went across my uterine lining and she tore my uterine wall. So she had to stitch me up inside. These are all stitches that too were going to dissolve. So now, I mean, to my knowledge, I think they're pretty well dissolved, but I don't know. I have not had any pain or discomfort, any challenges with those. So thankfully, I think we've healed very, very well from those. Get all stitched up. Now it's just soaking up the baby snuggles, getting everything finished up, cleaned up. I mean, I could tell I was losing a lot of, like, it was a lot of blood from my doctor had 2 other students in the room that were helping her get the sutures all taken care of and get the blood all managed as well. So it was a little intense. It's really crazy how fast all of that goes. I mean, I did find out too, a couple days later, one of the nurses that was helping with the delivery, she's like, do you want to know how long you ended up actually pushing for? Because we thought it was 47 minutes, like roughly in that 45-minute ballpark. She goes, you pushed for 32 minutes. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. That's fast. That's actually really, really fast. And it honestly felt like it too. I mean, felt like a long time, but also super quick at the same time. If you know, you know. Just because, again, it was such a challenge and effort, but everything is so high intensity and adrenaline. Like, everything is just go, go, go. That, yeah, that's absolutely crazy. You lose track of time with all of that. So that was crazy. Only 32 minutes. Once I'm all managed and taken care of, they've got baby, they're going weighing her, measuring her, all of the things, and oh my gosh, she's just the most perfect little baby. She did have a little cone head at first, but literally by the time we got back to the recovery room, the cone was gone. Even from being stuck in the canal for a little bit, she ended up being just fine. Now it's just getting ready to go into recovery. I just could not believe that I had done that. Everybody, again, just could not stop praising me and applauding me, really, for my efforts and what I did, that. And I was like, you guys, like, thank you so much. Like, it seriously meant so much to me that they were acknowledging my efforts, and it made me just feel, you know, so powerful as a woman. And women are so damn amazing. That's all I can say. I mean, from being pregnant to going through delivery and now postpartum, women, specifically mothers, do not get enough credit. I will tell you that right now. So if you can, please give your mom a big ol' hug and tell her thank you for everything, because she's done a lot, she's going through a lot, and she just is a powerhouse of a human being. So I love you to my mom. Once we are back into the recovery room, my family had been there literally all day to be there just in case anything went awry or, you know, what have you, just to be there to support, but we did not get to see them until later on once we were in the recovery room. And my sweet family made sure I had a Subway sandwich awaiting me once we got in there. I was, again, my nerves, like, I shake really bad when I'm nervous, and my nervous shakes I had that morning when I woke up were still, they continued throughout the entire delivery process, even into the recovery room. I was just, the nerves were shot. They were so high, so intense, that even kind of led it a little bit to the next day. It's so crazy. My body just feels these emotions and, you know, vibes, I guess, so intensely. I just told myself, you're good, we got this, kept breathing, being mindful of that. But I will say I did notice that I was getting kind of lightheaded when I was in the recovery room, and so I was trying to be mindful of sitting and resting, even though, like, overall I was feeling like, you know, yeah, I'm good. You know, it's kind of crazy that even after all of that I was still really felt like myself. But come to find out, because of all that blood I lost, that's why I was a little dizzy. Also, I hadn't ate anything since the eggs before going the first time to the hospital. A little bit of like nut mix, I think, right after delivery, because I knew my body needed something while we were waiting to be transferred to the recovery room. I knew I needed to make myself eat the sandwich, but it still tasted so good, even though I only got to take a few bites at a time, because my body was just like, easy girl, easy does it. I ended up eating that. We ended up having family come and see her, hold her, giving all of the love and well wishes to all of us, my sweet little family, and what we have now become. And it was just so bittersweet, and just could not be more grateful for all of the love that we have, and that we have family that was able to come support and see her that same day with our little village we have created. We did end up spending 2 days at the hospital. There was some concerns about a potential POF, I believe it was. I'll put the definition up here because I'm not really sure what it is still, like how to say it, but it's something with your heart. It's like a valve that's usually supposed to like flip closed once baby goes from utero to earth side, but hers had not ended up closing yet, because she did end up having echo scan and an EKG test done to kind of see what was going on there. That's where they found the POF, but it did end up, or the potential POF, so just that valve. They did see that, but where the concern came from was because her heart rate would dip pretty low but then go back up, so they wanted to see what was going on there. So that's where they ended up identifying that. But before we even left the hospital on that second day, her heart rate had stayed up and well, so we were pretty sure she was all good, but we just needed to monitor that. So after our checkups, going to see how she was doing from the 1 week and 2 week marks. She's been doing nothing but vibing and thriving, and that brings us here. I cannot believe it still that I am a mom, let alone that we have our sweet little baby girl here. I am just feeling so blessed and grateful just all around for what I've been given, for what I have, and everything around me. It's just been absolutely beautiful. I will say that postpartum is definitely very hard. Those first couple nights at home were something I was not geared for, like prepped for. You know you're gonna be getting less sleep, but you don't realize how much of a shift and how hard it is until you're doing it. Like those waking up in the middle of the night feeds and trying to, you know, do stuff in the middle of the night when you're used to, you know, usually being able to sleep through the middle of the night. It's hard. It was very hard. I will say I definitely had some pretty strong emotions those first couple days, and you know, it still ebbs and flows. Every once in a while we have a rougher night and it leads into the next day where I'm like, I'm running on fumes at this point, but most days and nights are really good. I'm just taking it one at a time because that's all you really can do. That's all I can like recommend you do. If you need my advice, that's what I would do. One day at a time. Just because the night before was rough doesn't mean the next one will be. And just because you had a good night the night before does not mean you'll get a second one. This is something I do want to say. I have been prioritizing a little bit of self-care. So like in the morning, I make sure I have my yummy bowl of cereal and make myself a fun little drink. And then in the evening, when it comes to taking a shower, I've been very blessed where I've been able to shower every day since being home. That I make sure to do my skincare because that's important to me. So I've been able to do those for myself every day. And then everything in between, we just kind of see what happens from there. But that, I would say, is going to conclude my birth story video. I know I kind of bounced around a lot. I maybe should have made some, you know, points, like a list for myself to go through before trying to sit down and do this video. But I think you get the gist of it, and it's really just something for me to get to look back on and have my daughter get to listen to someday about how she was brought in. And again, just it's so crazy and beautiful and wonderful, and just I still am just shocked that I was able to do it unmedicated. One note I would like to mention is truly after she came out, I was like, okay, I think I might only have one kid. I don't know if I can do this again. But I can strongly tell you now that yes, those hormones make a difference, and I would certainly do it all over again, because how often are you having kids? And I'm so grateful that I'm even able to go through that journey and process. So every little thing is a blessing, and I'm very blessed that I was able to be a mom. So here I am. Thank you guys so much for watching. I just hope you enjoyed getting to hear about my story. Comment the little bow emoji to kind of just shout out that you made it to the end of this video, and welcome our little baby girl Earthside. I'll see you guys next one. Bye.